You're listening to an IOE podcast.
Powered by UCL Minds.
Welcome to the ECF Staffroom. I'm Elaine Long.
And I am Mark Quinn.
We are programme leaders for the UCL Early Career Teacher Development Programme. Why are we in the staff room? We are here because this is where the best professional learning conversations always take place. This is where problems can be aired bluntly and where solutions can be explored.
Over the course of this series, we will hear the voices of different colleagues as they come into the ECF staff room. We will hear from early career teachers themselves and from the mentors and induction tutors who support them. We will talk about all things ECF, the challenges and the joys. So why don't you enjoy a coffee with us, perhaps even grab a biscuit and sit down to half an hour of ECF staff room chat. Emanuele, welcome to the ECF staff room. You've had a busy day, I've no doubt. Please put your feet up, take a seat. Got a nice soft chair there for you. What's been your day like so far?
Just another day in a secondary school, Mark. Screaming kids, screaming teachers. No, I'm joking, all good. I just finished teaching my year 8s. In fact, we were doing the speaking test, so they were all right, yeah. I taught them decently, hopefully.
Very, very good. And you must be parched, so you want a coffee of some kind. What would you like?
Well, being Italian, I have to have a properly made coffee. So I have a Nescafe machine at home, but not in the school, unfortunately. So no sachet or instant coffee for me. I'm just gonna have my water. Thank you, though.
Well, don't underestimate us. So we've got a special Italian coffee machine installed specially for you. So I'll get one going.
Please,
and and it might not arrive before the end of the chat, but we'll get it ready.
Thank you.
Welcome to the staff room, Emanuele. I noticed that you have very high standards when it comes to coffee, and I'm sure you have equally high standards when it comes to the learning of your students. And I'm interested, why did you decide to become a teacher and what route took you to this point?
Well, I've decided to join the Teach First training program because I think too many young people are not fulfilling their potential at school. And this cycle continues from generation to generation, which widens social inequality. And it's a cycle I was determined to help break because we cannot deprive a child of the opportunity to learn, develop, and make their aspirations flourish. So as one of the 10,000 Teach First ambassadors, what I aim to do is I aim to strive to make education and other sectors fairer through teaching and leading in challenging areas, because I deem inequality to be the new social question that we're all called to deal with responsibly.
I can see that there's a lot of moral purpose behind what you do, which is really inspiring to hear. I know you're a participant on one of our ECT programme, well, on our UCL ECT programme. We only have one UCL ECT programme. What have been the highs and lows of your year so far?
I've developed a lot of resilience and positive professional relationship with the staff. I've been also a form tutor, which allowed me to establish positive relationships with the young people I work with based on trust as well. I've also utilized and shared my love of languages, and I have been able to achieve unexpected milestones. For example, receiving positive feedback when I applied for the assistant head of department position. I've also been offered the place in the UCL Educational Leadership Master's course and the National Professional Qualification Leading Teaching. So it's been a great year, and I'm really, proud of it. But of course, there have also been the challenges, such as general stress and pressures of the job, which I'm gonna have to say they have also led to physical changes as well, a bit, like losing my hair.
Well, so you certainly had quite a dizzying year, so I'm not surprised you drink so much high quality coffee to get all those things in. Can I delve a bit more into the highs of your year? Because I know you probably, it sounds like one of the things you enjoy most is being in the classroom with the students, and I note from your biography that you're a modern foreign languages teacher, which I think are some of the best lessons to observe in school, actually. Can you tell me a bit more about how the program's helped you to be a better modern foreign languages teacher?
Well, obviously, looking very specifically at the teaching standards, I've managed to develop more effective lessons, like how to plan them, and I feel quite confident in that. But also behavior management, which is a very integral part of being a teacher. And then, yeah, as you said, the languages, I mean, it's my biggest passion. I've learned English, French, Spanish as foreign languages themselves. So I do know the challenges that the students go through. And my hope is that what I aim to do is I try to model how to overcome those challenges, because I myself first have, have faced them. So that has allowed me to be more relatable to the students, not just to sort of like dictating top to bottom, but bottom up. And I do believe that also a good leader should look into that as well. So I've learned how to develop this type of like assertiveness, this self-confidence, and the program has been very supportive on that.
Oh, great. So it's great to hear that the program's really helped your confidence to flourish. And you mentioned some physical changes. You mentioned you'd lost a bit of hair. I sympathise with that because I dye my hair, but underneath, after 20 years of teaching, it is quite grey. Don't tell anybody that.
So one of the joys of podcast, of course, is that no one has to know.
No one can see us. Yeah.
Yeah. Indeed, that's why we're doing a podcast. That's absolutely why this is a podcast and not a video. So what's been tricky about the ECT year so far?
Of course, juggling everything is very challenging. I'm sure that everyone says this one, because teachers already themselves have a busy lifestyle, and obviously with a training program on top, it seems like it becomes more unbearable. But I like to think that this program was and is a supportive place for us to tackle these workload issues that we might have. Yeah. So bearing in mind that obviously I was doing also like a second year of my Teach First training program, that made it again look a little bit more unreachable, but we're almost there, almost at the end of year 1 ECT and year 2 Teach First. So as I said, it is challenging, but it's definitely worth it, and I could not recommend it any more, any less. Yeah, I really recommend it. Yeah.
And some of our Teach First participants say that they can find the programme a repeat of their ITE year. Is that something you found? How have you sort of dealt with that?
Yeah, but I mean, I think that it's not a bad thing, because that allows us to even embed it even further, the learning that we went through the first year. Because bearing in mind that the first year is the first time that we are thrown into a classroom and we have almost a full timetable, perhaps we do miss certain things. So going through the ECT actually a way to refresh and go through the things that perhaps we had missed out in previous year.
Oh, yeah. That's great that's the way you've approached it.
So Emanuele, you contacted us because you wanted to talk in the ECF staff room about how you collaboratively with other ECTs and new teachers in your current school have been attempting to raise LGBTQ plus inclusivity in the classroom and in the extended culture, perhaps. So maybe you can start by saying to us what you mean by inclusivity with LGBTQ plus and why it matters so much.
I think that it's a primary role for educators to actively embody and promote the values of mutual respect and tolerance, as well as denounce any type of discrimination, notwithstanding faiths and beliefs. And it's not even circumscribed to a sheer pronoun per personal preference. I think it entails legal and cultural expectations as well, and modeling nowadays society in a safe environment and contributing to an inclusive pedagogy. this is set out also in part of the teacher standards. And schools should be an inclusive environment for all. You know, we have, for example, notable acceptance and care targeted students with SEND, EAL, but tolerance towards gender and sexual orientation diversity is equally important. And for example, what we could do is initiating classroom talks regarding gender inclusive language. And I think that in the context of modern foreign languages, we have a privileged stance because what we aim to do in our subject is we try to value diversity, and this is a very prominent aspect of our subject. Yeah.
That's really interesting about what you say about modern foreign languages. Now, if I can just ask you to think about schools in general, what do you think they could do to improve the experience of LGBTQ plus students in their schools?
I believe we should be able to promote more representation, which then tends to lead to normalization in the curriculum. I think representation is just an easy way to promote it, because you're trying to normalize something that is out there in the society, but you're doing it in a subtle way by integrating it in the subjects and in the context, in the topics that we're trying to teach.
That's really interesting, and I've often thought about that as an English teacher in terms of the books we choose and the characters that students relate to. You know, I've spoken to friends in the past that said, for example, if there was a gay character in a book I'd read when I was a child, that would have made me feel like the culture was much more inclusive. So I think it is about the choices we make at curriculum level. So thinking about ECTs as well, I guess, when they're planning their curriculums, is there anything you'd say to them in terms of representation?
I would obviously do my research like I have, or even talk to other experienced teacher or newly sort of qualified teachers, ECTs, because we have, like, I'm sure that in every school there is someone that is passionate about this, and I think it is important to represent these individuals in the curriculum, because it raises issues, it raises always questions, and that's fine. I mean, for example, it's easy tricks. I mean, I can obviously talk about French, because that was the language that is the language I've been teaching, and the subject is modern foreign languages. I mean, even reading comprehension tasks, if you think about it, my parents, what about if we change it to my two moms or my dads? And then the students will ask, because this has happened to me actually, I say, oh sir, it says my two moms. Yeah, it says my two moms. That's it, that's the answer. So for example, like, who are Sophie's parents, as I said, and then they say, oh, okay, and then we move on. But again, it's about that normalization of the diversity. Yeah, so it's really integrated in the curriculum. Yeah.
That's a great example. It's really interesting how those small tweaks that you're describing that you use in your modern foreign languages classroom can really make a big difference. And it's interesting that you said within any school. And I think this is the case for all schools, really. There are a number of people that are passionate about inclusivity, but that number isn't enough. And I think what I'm hearing is that every teacher should be passionate about that, and that should be at the forefront of every ECT's mind when they're planning their curriculum, whether they're a modern foreign languages teacher thinking about that, or an English teacher thinking about the texts they're choosing, or a maths teacher thinking about the examples that they write. It's almost quite empowering to think as teachers we have the capacity to make a big difference in students' lives through the language we use and the examples we give, in terms of making them feel more included. And I think that's a really empowering message that you're bringing today.
It's all about the language, and it's about the awareness of the language that we use. That's how I see it. Yeah.
And do you think teachers in school need more training on that?
I generally do. Yeah, I think that we should focus some of our CPDs, for example, after half term, in talking about gender inclusive language, or sort of like tackling homophobic and transphobic comments. I do think that schools require that. Yeah, it should be more pushed, because it's, at the end of the day, it's part of the Equality Act 2010, it's part of the Inspections Act 2006. So we have a lot of legal documents that promote it. So we as schools should really do, should really like empower these teachers to represent LGBTQ plus inclusivity. Yeah.
It's interesting you refer to other legal documents like the Equalities Act, Emanuele, because you'd be aware, I'm sure, that LGBTQ plus inclusivity is not explicitly referenced in the Early Career Framework, which is the program that you're engaged in with us. And so there's no mention about how to do that well in schools, how to raise those issues with young people. Does that matter, or do you feel that actually are there other important things which are excluded from the Early Career Framework, which or that ECTs should know about or should know how to do, and that therefore this program is somehow a missed opportunity? Would you say something about that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. You know what? You're right. I do think it matters. Yes, it should definitely be an integral part of the ECF because it also falls in the teacher standards anyway. I mean, especially if we look at standard 1, set high expectations, it states creating a culture of respect and trust in the classroom supports all pupils to succeed. Or if you think about standard 7, managing behavior effectively, according to which in order to develop a positive, predictable and safe environment for pupils, we must work alongside colleagues as part of a wider system of behavior management and respond quickly to any behavior or bullying that threatens emotional safety. And then finally, standard 8, which is fulfill wider professional responsibilities. Standard 8 impels teachers to contribute positively to the wider school culture and develop a feeling of shared responsibility for improving the lives of all pupils within the school. So it's all there. It is in the ECF, but I just think it should be made more explicit. That's all.
Yeah, I think that's thank you for that, actually, because you can imagine that putting a program such as this together as we did, there are many gaps. I'm absolutely certain of it. There are many opportunities.
It's a new and it's a new program, but it's great the way it is now. But of course, there's always room for improvement. We teachers teach this to our students. We make mistakes, we learn from them, and and of course, there's always going to be gaps. But that's what it's all about. It's all about change.
Yeah,
change is never ending. So
yeah, and Elaine and I and everybody else at UCL is completely passionate about the idea that we can improve our program by being responsive to the participants on it, which underpins the whole point of this whole podcast. Why we want people like you on to share your voice with us, and I'm certain we'll be in touch again to talk about actually to draw upon your expertise, I suppose, and other colleagues that you've been working with at your school.
Thank you.
What we might be able to do to make the program that significantly better, actually, not just a little bit better, but significantly better. So we'd watch out for a call from us, Emanuele.
I'm looking forward to it.
And just before you go and leave the staff room, we ask everybody to write something on a post-it note. So I'm going to hand you a post-it note now, virtually, and it's up to you what you write on that post-it note and who you want to show it to and where you put the post-it note. So can you tell me what you'd like to do?
Let's see. You know what? I used to think that being brave meant that you're unscared of anything. But all of this has actually helped me realize that being brave means you aren't afraid to be scared. It means that you embrace the scary, because a lot of the times the scariest things are also the most important, like admitting who you are or who you love. So this post-it notes goes to all the teachers out there who are doing this already and fighting every day for an inclusive and safe environment for all students. I just hope I only get braver from here.
Thank you. That's a very inspiring thing to put on a post-it note, and I'm sure your students feel very lucky to have you as their teacher. I think I would have really liked a modern foreign languages teacher like you. It might have improved my command of French.
We can just hear the bell ringing there. Otherwise, I think we'd be very happy just to sit for a good half hour longer in the staff room and chat to you, Emanuele. But we have to go. I think your coffee is just about ready, so you might have to put it in a lidded cup and take it with you. I don't know if you want a biscuit, but there's a tray there waiting for you to pick one up on your way out.
Thank you.
Pleasure talking to you, and good luck with the rest of the program and your various other professional development endeavors that you were telling us about at the beginning. Thanks very much. Our thanks go to Emanuele Frascadore for sharing an Italian coffee with us this week in the ECF staff room. Emanuele is an MFL teacher in Hayes.
Please do get in touch with us if you'd like to chat with us about your ECF experience. We especially want to hear from a range of different voices. In the meantime, join us next time for a biscuit and a chat with another colleague in the ECF staff room.
Thanks so much for downloading and listening to this IOE podcast.